you stand up on the windowsill? I might need help getting down and up. Oh, well, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Gotta have a shoe. Warmest welcome to everyone. Bienvenue à tous. Thank you for coming. Tonight we're here to celebrate George's life. We will have 3 short readings, followed by a toast. Thank you so much for coming. Terry, will you take place? Thank you. Thank you,
That was a shorter introduction than I was expecting, to be honest. I had more time to prepare myself. What I'm going to read is from a journal of George's when he was 23, July 1st, 1935. He just finished 4 years at Boston University. He mentions that in the journal entry, and he was about to embark on a trip to Mexico and Central America. And the title of the journal entry is Bohemian Holiday. And on that note, actually, the first time I met him, he asked me if I was a dropout, and he asked me that all through the time knew him, and I never knew if the right answer was yes or no. So Bohemian Holiday. On July 1st, 1935, I set out to investigate the condition of the human race in all of the 6 continents and the 7 seas of the planet Earth. My object was to take a Bohemian holiday, to spend in pursuit of seductive mysteries and extravagant adventures. For 4 years at Boston University, I lived in the dark and fantastic universe of ideas and aesthetic speculation. Upon graduation, I felt the invincible desire to depart into the unknown, the unseen and the unexpected. For many nights I pored over maps of Asia, maps of Africa showing regions of romance where mysterious rivers flowed past mysterious cities. I saw a world whose skies were filled with many flags, whose seas were covered with many ships, whose continents were covered with monstrous cities. And each flag, each ship, each city was a symbol of human power and human weakness, a symbol of glory, the glory that shines like a meteor, dazzling, enchanting, but revealing nothing of the inscrutable darkness of life. My journey was undertaken to penetrate, wherever possible, the secret meanings of existence, to observe the influence in all regions of the earth of the supreme forces, love, destiny, and death, and to enjoy in meditation and solitude the soft illumination which the true, the beautiful, the adventurous, and the heroic shed like the stars of another universe on meadow and metropolis. This book is a record of the different customs observed and the different scenery explored by the author, who set out in good health and in good humour to live, to breathe, to sing, to laugh, and to love in the shadow of Siberia and in the sunlight of the tropics. My wish to the men of all nations is that they may rise out of their common misery into a common joy, in which they embrace the creed, my country is the world, and my religion is humanity. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. I'm going to get up. I'm not as young as Terry. I'd like to read a poem to you by Rafael Alberti that for me has always had a rapport with George and his spirit. The Good Angel. The one I wanted came, the one I called. Not the one who sweeps away defenseless skies, stars without homes, moons without a country, snows. The kind of snows that fall from a hand, a name, a dream, a face. Not the one who tied death to his hair. The one I wanted. Without scraping air, without wounding leaves or shaking window panes, the one who tied silence to his hair. To scoop out, without hurting me, a shoreline of sweet light inside my chest so that my soul could sail. I might have to crouch. I am reading an essay which George wrote in 2000 for a pamphlet he published about the bookshop. Looking back at half a century as a bookseller in Paris, it all seems like a never-ending play by William Shakespeare, where the Romeos and Juliets are forever young,
while I have become an octogenarian king, like King Lear. When I opened my bookstore in 1951, this area in the heart of Paris was a slum, with street theatre, mountebanks, junkyards, dingy hotels, wine shops, little laundries, tiny thread and needle shops, and grocers. Back in 1600, in the middle of this slum, our building was a monastery, with a Frère Lompier who would light the lamps at sunset. I seem to have inherited his role because for 50 years now, I have been your Frère Lompier. I can think of a few modest achievements, typical of the idiosyncratic way this bookshop is managed. When a French explorer named Michel Pessel visited the bookshop, I told him I had read a few of his books of travel in Quintana Roo and hoped someday to meet him. He told me we had already met, because as a student he frequented the bookstore and the books he read here inspired him to become an explorer. In fact, he said, now that I have published 18 books, I am back where it all started, in the little library above the bookstore. He was one of many thousands whom I have invited to stay in my house and read my books as a way of repaying the hospitality I received in many countries when I was a vagabond. I like to think there is a trace of genius in all of us, and in my case there might be a vague resemblance to Walt Whitman, who also ran a bookstore and printing press in Brooklyn over a century ago. I feel a kinship with Walt Whitman and believe the bookstore has the faults and virtues it might have if he were the proprietor. It has been said that perhaps no man liked so many things and disliked so few as Walt Whitman, and I at least aspire to the same modest attainment. I once expected to spend 7 years walking around the world on foot. I walked from Mexico to Panama, where the road ended before an almost uninhabited swamp called the Choco Colombiano. Even today there is no road. Perhaps it is time for me to resume my wanderings where I left off as a tropical tramp in the slums of Panama. Perhaps, like Ambrose Bierce, who disappeared in the desert of Sonora, I also may disappear. But after being involved in all mankind, it is hard to come to terms with oblivion. Not to see hundreds of millions of Chinese with college diplomas come aboard the locomotive of history. Not to know if someone has solved the riddle of the universe that baffled Einstein in his futile efforts to make space, time, gravitation, and electromagnetism fall into place in a unified field theory. Never to experience democracy replacing plutocracy in the military-industrial complex that rules America. Never to witness the day foreseen by Tennyson when the war drums throb no longer and the battle flags are furled in the Parliament of Man, the Federation of the World. I may disappear, leaving behind me no worldly possessions, just a few old socks and love letters, and my windows overlooking Notre Dame for you all to enjoy, and my little rag and bone shop of the heart, whose motto is, "Be not inhospitable to strangers, lest they be angels in disguise." I may disappear, leaving no forwarding address, but for all you know, I may still be walking among you on my vagabond journey around the world. Amitié sincère, George Whitman.
And now, please raise your glasses to George. To
George.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can talk.
Yeah.